Hi, everybody. It is Emilia and Tracy and Tate. And we are here today to talk about sacred union, sacred partnership. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Tate.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure, my honor. I'm so excited to dive into this whole thing with you guys because we were just talking about like sacred union is not for the role players, the people who just want to follow guidelines. It's something that we're going to create. And actually, we're very rebellious about that. I think we were talking about in our generation, and our purpose of the summit is that we want to talk about what that is and what that's like. And you guys are like our only couple that came together to talk about it. So I'm so excited to talk to you. But first, I want to tell everybody a little bit about you, just so they know who we're talking to. So they are, Tracy and Fleur are a couple. Tracy and Tate, it's Tracy, Fleur, and Tate Kerkhoff. And they're a couple, and they just told me that they have 95 million kids. So they're not just a couple, but they're also co-parenting, I'm imagining, right? You guys are doing the whole family thing, the parenting thing, the sacred union, divine union, and you guys have the business together, the matchmaking business. And what really touched my heart was what I read on your website was you guys said, our story is one of true love. Our mission is to help you discover that type of love. And I'm just getting goosebumps saying that, literally like full body chills, because that's what this summit is about. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you.
And you introduced us every time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Did you like it? Oh, awesome. Okay, so you guys tell me the story. I want to know, how did this all start? How did you meet? How did you decide that this is the model for what you want to help the world create, which I totally am on board with. I think this whole summit is about that. I'm so interested. I'm so excited. I'm sure our listeners are probably going to want to hear that too.
So I'll try to make a long story short.
Okay.
So we both come from divorce. I have 3 kids. Tate has 1 kid. He has 2 marriages. I have 1 marriage. So a lot of things going on here. Anyways, the last year, I decided that I wanted to start dating again. Not just dating. I knew after 9 years in my relationship with my kid's dad, it's narcissist, all the crazy things, all the work that I do, I was like, you know what? It's time. This all happened for a reason. Lessons learned. I'm ready to find, like, not just date, but find my real partner. But I felt like I didn't know how to do that. Also, we're in LA, or I'm in LA. So last year at this time, we were still in the mask. We were still in lockdown. Like, you can't go out, can't do anything. But my gut was like, it's time to find my person. Like, how in the hell am I going to do that? So I kind of felt inspired to call in a matchmaker, which I actually didn't even know if that was a real thing. I kind of just know like the one on TV, and I was like, is there really matchmakers? But something told me I should look for one. Anyways, I ended up hiring one who I didn't use because that inspired me to just open myself up to anything. And so we actually ended up meeting online. After I did the matchmaker, we went online. I didn't realize that Tate lives in Montana. I just saw this name of the city. It didn't say Montana. It just said Kalispell. And I'm like, oh, that must be like a little town in Northern California. So we're talking for a couple of days, and we were like, oh my gosh, both of us were like, this is our person. Tate was like, I'm actually going to just cancel my whole profile, whatever. And then I was like, so where are you from? Again, thinking it's going to be like, oh, up north. He's like, Montana. And I was like, oh, well, I guess this always was a perfect match. And he was like, why? Exactly what you're saying already. We started like with the rules. Like, why isn't it a match? Who cares, right? Like, let's just see. And I was like, okay. You're right. And so that kind of started the already like, okay, we're going to try to do this our own way.
Our own co-creation, our own creation. Yeah.
Also at the time, I was reading a lot of Neville, and he always talks about how everything is moving a mountain. If you believe you can move a mountain, you can move a mountain. And so we always kind of had that metaphor, and we would joke with each other, like, we just have to move a mountain. Like, that's how this is going to work. And once we had that mentality, I mean, it really was the co-creation. It was manifesting, because we almost, since this time last year, we've been together basically a year, have been able to see each other basically every 2 weeks, sometimes more than that. Even with the kids, even with the distance, like somehow it's never a problem, because we just have it in our heads that this relationship is number one. It is our priority. We're going to keep moving a mountain, and it just kind of happened from there.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think we both came from backgrounds, as we spoke of before, like kind of that typical marriage of like, for me, for sure it was, oh, I have the house, the dog, I'm mowing the lawn. This is just how it is. And, we don't speak about feelings. You don't handle problems. You just push things under the rug. And
Yeah.
obviously I have two marriages that didn't work out that taught me. So when I was, I was single for much longer than Tracy was, probably 3 or 4 years before I met her. But like, I really took that time to like say, okay, I really want to be with someone who wants to do the work, who wants to go through the things, because we all know no relationship is perfect. No relationship, navigates this life without any issues. And for me, it was like, I'm going to find that person who's willing to go into the foxhole with me and get through our stuff, because I know I have it.
And we have gone in many foxholes in the last year. That's part of our message too, is I think that, there's so much self-love out there in the lovey reels, and there's so many things going around that give people so many, false beliefs. And I think one of them in soulmate love, sacred union, whatever you want to call it, is that when you find that person, it's like the angels sing and there's a rainbow and you're never going to fight and it's perfect. And we also do couples coaching, relationship coaching. That's something that we decided, like, we needed to learn for ourselves, that we really want to share. And it's the fact that your soulmate person is also the one that triggers the absolute F out of you. They really do. And so we realized quickly that we were already triggering each other. We were already whatever, but the feeling was, again, we're going to move a mountain. So instead, the intention was, we're going to move through it. And we both agree constantly, every time we get into a thing, we come closer and closer and closer, rather than the old way, which is, well, conflict must not be your person, turn away from them. Grass is always, we walk the other way. So, I think that's really like what makes us work, what we're here to teach, and why we, again, came into the business together. We're like, okay, we feel like we finally found that magic ingredient, which is, how do you choose each other every day? How do you keep going? And how can you turn that into the most intimate connection possible? And again, on top of that, we have all the other things. We have the kids, we have exes, we have distance. And, our thought was just keep moving that mountain. On top of the fact that what our main thing too is prioritize the relationship. And this is, I think some parents that are single may disagree. We think we have to do it for the kids. I think that's another old school mentality. That's why people stay in a marriage too long. My kids. And so what we decided is, it's not kids first, it's us first. Because when we're the best versions of us coming together as a family makes a new family for our kids that's stronger, healthier, modeling what true love is, all of that.
Yes.
Then they will thrive. But if we kids first, we wouldn't have any of these trips. Sorry, can't leave the kids up. And whatever. So, again, other people maybe kind of look at us like, when we've heard comments like, oh, you're just going to leave your kids all the time. No, we left them for 2 days for the weekend. Like, we can do that, because when we do, what we are building is for them too, that foundation. And they see us, both of us in our relationships, there's no hugging, there's no kissing, there's no loving. Like, there's no model of love, but that's all we're building that for them. So that's a huge thing. And how we work is, we come first. The relationship comes first before everything else. And then everything else just seems to fall into place.
Amazing. I just feel like, honestly, if this is all people received from this interview, like, I want to talk to you more. I'm definitely going to ask you more questions. Please, give us all your wisdom and gold. But like, even if people just really heard this, that would be enough for the paradigm change of what is the goal and the purpose of the summit.
I love it.
The message of the co-creation, the willingness, we're going to build this together. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be easy. It's a different paradigm of marriage. It's a different paradigm. And the other thing, Tracy, I love so much about what you just said is, one of the things I teach is that sacred union does not require sacrifice. Because when you're co-creating, you always create a way. You always create a way. And that's what I hear you guys saying. no, we don't have to sacrifice and, drag the kids along. We don't have to sacrifice, and we're going to create a solution. We're going to overcome this mountain. I love it so much. I love it. I love it so much. So amazing. So amazing. So many gems there, you guys, I swear. Even like we could end here. We seriously could just end here. But I do want to ask you more. I want to ask you more stuff because I can see it, I can feel it. So tell me, like, when you're talking about the kids and you're talking about coming together and creating this new family and building it and prioritizing the connection and the union, right? Because you guys understand that's the foundation for the new way.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the foundation for what you want to create, right? What roles do things like polarity, the feminine energy, the masculine energy, being in your personal power, creating passion, being connected to your own creative juice, right? Like what roles and how do those things play into it for you? I would love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw myself under the bus here. I have a son, he's 6 now, but for the first 5 years of his life, I thought being the man was just, catering to him, just making sure, because I grew up in a house where it was very, we were Catholic. It was very, no feelings, no I love yous. So I'm like over the top with Dash. I'm, crazy about it. But what I found in the last year with Tracy's help is I really wasn't leading him. I really wasn't giving him the tools to become this masculine person that women need. And, it really made me take a good look at how I am as a father. And I think throwing her 3 kids in the mix, who I love just as much as I love my own son, like just watching myself kind of come into this like different mentality of showing them how to be, just as an example, like I heard one time, like it's not what you say, it's what you're doing that they're going to follow. So I think Dash struggled with me for a little while this last year, just because I kind of changed my mentality. I was saying I was doing all these things, but I wasn't doing anything. And I really had to, let's start eating vegetables. Let's start going for walks. Let's start doing these things. I'm out running around and I'm doing all these things, but I'm not doing it with my son. And it really wasn't, I was leading him down the same direction that I was led down, which, I don't want to do that pattern. We want to change the pattern with our kids. So, I think for me, it was really saying, okay, you're not doing your part. You have to step up in a real way, just so that we can get to the next place with our kids.
As far as that, we'll start with the masculine and feminine part. For me, sometimes I might as well just be a dude. Like I could just be a man.
I love that you're just like, that's the first thing I'm going to say, because I don't think you're alone in our world today. As far as the women, right? Like you're not alone in that. We all, all of us women are going through that. But yes, thank you. Continue,
my life has been survival mode, and that really puts you in the masculine, because the masculine is really, that doer and the pusher and all that. But it's not work. I also do a lot of work with women. I do womb work and releasing trauma and all that. So like in doing all that, I've realized that what I've craved so bad is just to be in my feminine, because talk about co-creation. I mean, the feminine really is the creator, and then the masculine goes out and executes, right? So like I'm in my feminine, like, I mean, he knows, like it's too many actually. My ideas are like this, and I have all this and I'm creating, but I've never been able to stay in that space because I have to jump into the masculine and control. But anyways, when we got together, again, through the programming, Tate thinking, well, if I do it this way, he was constantly thinking, how can I not, his whole life revolved around his son. That's the thing that changed too. It went from like, okay, it's just you, to now it's me. And his life was revolved around, how can I basically not cause trauma to him, which was not putting him in his masculine, because he was being like very like whatever. And when we came together, I was kind of like, I mean, I'm a Leo too, and I really show up that way. I was like the lion in the fire, like, okay, I love you. There's a lot here, but I need you to kind of like help me come down here. And in a way kind of give him that little bit of power, because I actually wanted less too. Like I want to just be in my feminine flow. That's what I crave, because I've spent my life the opposite and I needed him to step up. So in him seeing how he was handling his son and like their dynamic, it really helped him show up in all other ways. So I feel like they always say that it's like the woman behind the man. So I felt like I was able, and mostly through me asking and trying to explain, which was another thing that was my journey. How can, especially all of us women, we don't feel like we could say what we want and ask for what we need. I feel like we hear that now, we think that just means bedroom, but it means everything.
Everything.
Right? Everything, but the bedroom too. But for me to like say like, these are the things I need and this is where I want to be. And then he's, slowly learned how to step in that way. And that's become our dynamic where we kind of switch the power roles, where I'm like, okay, you step up, you be the man, in that way, be the leader, but I'll drive it with all the creative ideas and the flow. And, and that's also allowed me to be just so much more in touch with myself, so much more open. Talk about love too. We want to call in that love, but usually we don't know how to receive it. And our walls are up to here. And we're like,
right.
love me, but don't, because I don't want to get hurt, right? So the more I'm able to be in that feminine space, the more I could just be like, okay, I'm open for the love. I'm not gonna, push
Yes.
it. So that's a, and in that too, all the things you said are so true. Then it comes the polarity, right? Because he's so this way and I'm so this way. I think another misconception, you come together and if we're not the same, we have to be exactly the same, but it's not true. You want that balance and you want that, the little bit of fire, the little bit of softness, the one that's really loud, the one that's really quiet. And I think that is the recipe, because you bring it out in each other too. Like we brought out so much playfulness in each other that we had both put away. We got so rigid, like go to work, take care of the kids, eat your food, go to bed. And then all of a sudden we started being like playful and really silly and, all these things that we were able to bring out of each other, like through our polarities. So I think you really nailed those as that recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I hear some polarity teachers talk about like, the woman should be in her feminine and the man should be in his masculine. And because I'm a feminine leader, and I know a lot of our listeners are feminine leaders, and I know Tracy, obviously you are, Tate, you are leading too. There's a different energy and a different dynamic, I feel, when we're feminine leaders, because we need so much support. We need to be created to our connection to our vision, but also to allow in all the support that the masculine wants to give. Like they want to bring that in. And like you said, if we're not able to be vulnerable, if we're not able to be receptive, then we're just going to be in our masculine again. But what I want to ask you is, do you find like you're stuck in the polarities, or do you find that they flow? And sometimes, Tracy, you are in the masculine, and sometimes, Tate, you are in the feminine. But as a whole, because I can even see from you guys, I feel, Tate, you're a masculine being, Tracy, you're a feminine being, but that doesn't mean that you're stuck in that polarity, 24/7, right?
No, I think this is where balance, this is a big key to a long-term healthy relationship, is that finding that balance. I mean, she's seen me lay on the floor and cry for 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's that part of our relationship. But I think for any men, for men to understand that giving the woman this power, I call her the portal. She's like this.
Yeah.
Like if I can keep her in that space, I feel like I can conquer the world. Like it's this grand like feeling that, it's a secret that everybody knows but doesn't know how to do, kind of thing. And when we get off beat, and when she steps into that masculine and then we start to kind of butt heads, it's totally, we can reframe and say, okay, this is why. But there's that moment, where
sometimes
when the flow is off.
Yeah. But it's sometimes, to your point, it is that I might be more masculine and he might be more feminine. And that's fine too, because sometimes, again, it's just needed for, whatever is happening. But, I think we always recognize now, like we learn to recognize when those moments come up, like, okay, maybe I need to lead in this, and, you take a step back, or, whatever the case. But there's so
and that's the piece of the co-creation.
Great. Yeah.
Right. Like, it's not like we're going to just follow those roles.
Yeah.
Whether the feminist movement told us, oh, we're going to be powerful. So Tracy, I'm going to be in my masculine no matter what to prove that I'm independent, right? It's like, no, we flow, right? Like this situation, actually, I'm better fit to lead in this situation, or you're better fit to lead in this situation. And that's what I teach my clients. It's like, but it's like, if overall Tate gets to be in his masculine and you get to be in the feminine, that's the nourishing piece, but it's not 24/7. That's not doable and not co-creative, because then you're not flowing.
It's too
right? Right.
But I will say, from my personal take, again, like I did like a full year studying womb healing and womb work and all that, which is about being in the deep feminine and healing the feminine. And what I always do with a client is bring her through an exercise where we go through all the elements, the earth, the wind, the fire, and I always relate it to just all of our emotions, because it's in us to be all of them. Can we flow like the water, the winds of change, like a woman? And we always want to go, oh, it's like hormones, or you're on your period. A woman who's really in her feminine, and I say this to every client, you could be happy, sad, angry, pissed off, laughing, crying, all within 30 seconds. And when we do that as a woman, we get condemned. And it's like, again, are you on your period? Like, what's wrong with you? And it's like, no, I'm being a woman right now. And if you allow all those things, that really is your feminine to me. So I think when we have, women wanting to be powerful, now they want to step into that role of, again, being the masculine, being dominating, I'm going to do it like this. But really the most powerful woman is the woman who's flowing through all those things.
Yes.
And so it's sitting in the feminine and being like, I could lead from being, for lack of better words, an emotional mess right now, because I get to be, right? I have 1,000 emotions flowing through me. And once I allow them, then I am the most creative. I am the most powerful. So to me, then when the masculine comes in and he could hold you in that space where it's not like, I'm upset at you for being bitchy right now. I'm like, why are you crying? It's like, Tate, no, it's like, okay, let her go. Like, I'm all these things. And in 5 minutes, like, okay, like, I'm good. Like, but that is, and for the masculine too, though, you think, but I'm the masculine man, so I'm not going to let my woman be a this or that, too. And no, the masculine, again, a different aspect. You think he's like this, but it's actually, they're both softer, I think, because then you can be soft and be like, look, I'm going to hold you in the space in the masculine, but in a loving way, which is like, okay, I allow. It's not like, so I think those are things that we don't quite understand either, because we, just like everything else, we hear something, we put this connotation, like this is how the role is. But for us, it's all about being a little bit more gentle and flowy. And then that is when you are the strongest. And, they say that, women, what we really crave, like every woman, your body craves to feel safe. And we have this, I don't want to be abandoned. And every man has, I want to feel freedom. And I don't want to feel like I'm like held down. And so I think, me and Tate have talked about this a lot. He's studied it a lot in his men's work, something that he shares. I'll let you speak on it, but is that you feel the most free when you are actually showing up for the woman. And I think men think it's so not masculine. You're not going to tell me what to do and when to show up and all these things because you're taking away my freedom. But really, when he shows up for me and whatever I need, again, my response when I'm in my flowy feminine actually gives him the freedom to go do B. It's like, okay, you're here for me. You're holding space. I don't feel abandoned. I feel good and safe. And now I'm not on you for anything. I don't need to be on you. I feel so good and safe with you. What do I need to be nagging you for, right? I don't need anything else but that. And then the freedom is his to like, oh, now I can be me. But it's like the what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? And like we don't understand that. Give this to the woman, be that, and then everything you're craving comes to you.
Yeah. So I think that for men, again, any men listening or watching, this is all about being grounded and staying. It's not easy all the time to watch your spouse or your girlfriend or your partner, act or do whatever it is that they need to do. But I think when you can stay grounded as a man, when you can stay grounded in your masculinity, when you stay that safe space and let them know that this is okay, this is a part of the relationship, this is a part of the journey. That's we had some big battles right away because my ego was in the way. I wanted to prove. Men are logical thinkers. We just want to solve the problem. We want to fix, but that's not always that's not always what needs to happen. And when I really started to say, okay, let me just sit back and almost enjoy this beautiful thing that's going on here. It changed our relationship, I think. And it totally put this, like, I can tell in the last half a year, she's been like free to just be who she needs to be. I feel much more empowered to be who I need to be. And, you know, we don't have all the answers, but I feel like we've got a pretty good baseline for what it takes to try to get through these problems. And that's what our message is, you know, to anybody that we help is there's such a reward in this. There's such a reward in getting through things and doing things together that our society, you know, we've taught our men, we've taught our women to do the opposite of what they're supposed to do. And our mission is to reverse that, basically. I mean, I've spent 20 years in business specifically watching young men afraid to stand up in front of a room, like afraid to do these things. And it just, for me, one day I was like, we have to help these children that are coming into the world, and they're not afraid to speak their truth. They're not afraid to stand up to the boss. They're not afraid to even present themselves. And that's kind of where, you know, where I'm at with, you know, men's work and doing that. But yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. And thank you so much for standing for that. Because I'm right there with you. I'm standing with all my crystals and swords.
Yeah. Good.
You know, because that's it. And that's what I love that you guys are bringing. And I think it's so precious. Like, you guys are flowing with it. You're creating it. You're honoring him. You're honoring her. You're honoring polarity, but you're not staying stuck in polarity, right? Like all those pieces is what the modern, I believe, healthy, sustainable, fulfilling, sacred partnership needs. Because we're in a new age, and the kids need us to step into that so that they have what they need to build a new world. Because here's where we're walking into that new age, but a lot of reforming our ideas and our beliefs and our ways is it's so important. And I just love that you guys are bringing that here. Like, you're bringing that energy, you're bringing that understanding, you're bringing that wisdom, you're living it together. So it's just really, really awesome and inspiring. So I want to just tell everybody, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, I think we live in the greatest time in human history for love. Like, we have all of these tools, we have all of these, look what happened in the last few years with people like, holy cow, my life could be over just like that. I think this is an opportunity for everybody to take a step back and say, what do I really want out of this life? Because it could go at any day. What do I really want from my partner? And I don't know, I just feel like this is the most wonderful time in human history to, like, really encapsulate or embody this type of love, because before it was black and white, you know, we just kind of, you know, and now it's like, all these things in consciousness and all that. It's just like, I don't know, it's an opportunity.
It's important what we really want. I think that's a huge thing that's happened for people, right?
Yeah, because we can, like, we have this, we have internet, we have books, we didn't, you know, this is all very new.
But we have people.
You know, we have people. Yeah, we have a lot of tools that, yes, absolutely, our ancestors didn't have, our parents didn't have, so they couldn't create what we can because of what we also have access to that they didn't. Absolutely. That's a very empowering message, and we need to remember that, because that's, like, you know, it's our turn. It's our job, it's our work, and we get to do it. It's not, we have to do it, we get to do it. Like, it's beautiful work. So thank you for that reminder, Tate. That's I totally love that you brought that in, because yes, we can do it. So I want to tell everybody where they can find you guys. So I know that you started a matchmaking agency, which is the matchagency.love. So we're going to link it below, but you also have coaching programs. You also have different kinds of offers to help men and women dating after divorce, learning to call in a partner from a space of wholeness, not desperation. I love when you wrote me, you know, dispelling the myth of the other half, because we were talking about the co-creation. So this is the part about the power, right? And maybe you can speak into this, but like to co-create, both partners have to be in their power.
Yep.
So it's no longer about, oh, you're the boss, you're the boss. It's not even a symbiosis. It's more of like a synergy. It's like, you know, you plus me is not two, it's like 5,000, because we are in our power and we're co-creating, and co-creation is infinite, right? Like, tell me more about this, because I feel like you know about this. I have an inkling that you get this.
Well, I mean, we here too with the philosophy. We literally just did a reel about this the other day, and we're like, sorry, Jerry Maguire, but this whole the two halves, like, oh, you complete me, and I need the other one. And I mean, first of all, if you like want to get deep into all of the work, there is a reason that we feel that way, and it is because when we come together with a partner, again, if you want to go the polarity, the thing that could be really out and about of your partner is something that inside of you you've suppressed. So if you're like a really quiet introvert, your partner, your true partner, is probably going to be a really loud extrovert, and you feel a wholeness. You actually do feel that, and it's because you've suppressed that. Maybe when you were a child, you weren't, you know, it's be quiet, go to your room, whatever. So you feel this wholeness, and it goes, oh, okay, something feels, I feel the void is filled because of the fact that they are reflecting back what you've suppressed. So I will say that there's a reason that we feel that way and why we say that. But that being said, what you see is you're just here to help me wake that part up in me. I'm not broken. I'm not incomplete. I was whole already. You're whole already. We're just helping each other. So it's exactly what you said. It's now not 1 + 1, but if you're coming in as a whole and I'm coming in as a whole, and we know we're here to just amplify each other, again, that's like all the magic happens. But we really get stuck in that I need. And so when we talk to you about creating, or, you know, we could say manifesting is our word. We're going to manifest this. And we manifest it from a place of desire. Like I always say that I desired to have a partner. I don't need him. Again, my masculine over here proved I don't need a man. Like I can do all the things by myself. Cool, great. But I desire to have a partner to do it with. I desire to feel the love I found for myself amplified back and forth. So I think too, like if you study anything of co-creating manifesting, the desire has the biggest energy of anything. A need, I lack, that's the two halves. I need this person. I don't feel good about myself without this person. There's no energy to create there. But if you come in of just desire, like I'm good, you're good, but we desire this connection, again, like that's the explosion. That's when you're the energetic magnet to all the things. So I think that's another takeaway to me we could give anyone from this is you're perfect, whole, and complete just as you are. That partner is going to magnify it.
Yeah.
Both have all the things you need inside. You're just going to wake each other up to them or teach you, relearn it, right? Let me help you get out of that shell. You used to not be there. Like, let's bring you back up here, up level. Remember who, you know, you are. And I think that's the magic, really.
Yeah. And when we say remember who you are, because we've used that phrase a lot in this series. And I think what we're saying, right, is like remember your creative power. Remember your ability, the power you have to choose to decide how things are going to go for you, and what you're going to create.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's we put the limitations on everything. How love could look, how much money you could have, how good you could feel, all of that. There's like always a limit, right? And that's us moving the mountain. Like limit would be, well, you're too far away, it's too hard, it's just not going to happen. Or limitless is, well, there's just going to be a way, right? We want this, the desire for it is that strong, and a way is going to be made. That's the co-creation. I feel like that when the desire is just like burning, it's like, okay, a way is being made right in front of us.
And when we're in touch with that desire, we're in our power. And that was the other thing I was going to ask you about, because Tate, you mentioned how you were trying not to upset your son. You wanted him to not go through trauma. So to me, what I heard from that was like, you weren't fully in your power because you were like tiptoeing, right? And so I wanted to ask you, now that you're there and you see this, what do you do? How do you stay in your power?
Yeah. So this is where, I think as parents, I felt like I needed to be a friend more than a dad. I felt like I needed, like, he he gave me unconditional love. Almost, it's gonna sound bad, almost like a puppy. Like, you know, he came home.
Yeah. Kids do that. Yeah.
He
We're so
validated,
blessed.
he validated everything that I didn't get as a kid. So it was like, oh, I better just be
Appease. You want to do appease.
And what I
Mm.
found was that's not going to help him at all. It's not. So there's got to be, there's boundaries, there's rules, there's bedtimes, there's what you're going to eat. There's, you know, we're going to go, you know, it's the little things that just add up every day where, you know, before it was, you know, what can I do with my best little buddy today? Which there are times for that. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm still playful with my son. I'm very like, we have a very tight bond. I see him 70% of the time, and it's a wonderful relationship. But now I think he's noticed me, like, what, I'm not trying to talk about his mom here, but when he goes to mom's house, there's no rules. When he comes to my house, he knows bedtime's at 7:30, you know. And it's cool to watch him, like, he doesn't even bat an eye at it anymore. He used to fuss a little bit, but now it's like he's understanding.
It's other things too, even bigger than rules for him, is that you know, what we don't get to is sometimes it's not the thing that we're actually doing, but the energy. So it's like Tate's fear of doing it wrong or hurting him, whatever. It's just fear in general, right? So it's not like his son had a fear of doing something wrong, but he felt fear. So he was, even in the last year exchange, just kind of afraid of everything. Like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to try something new. I mean, even the other day, we're like, oh, you should jump on the bed in the hotel room. He's like, why would I jump on the bed? He's 6. Like, I would fall off and break the leg and jump. But you know, everything is just energy. So if you feel an energy of fear, you're gonna manifest that in whichever way, you know. Right. And Tate was allowing that though. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this hover afraid energy, and now it's showing up in how he is. I want to stay inside and be afraid. Right. Let's go on a hike. And it's like, hiking, like, that takes work, that takes effort, that takes energy. It's hot. It's no, I don't. And it's just a no, I don't even want to try that. You know, and Tate at the time when we tried this was like, okay, that's fine. Like, okay, you don't have to. But we realized, again, it's not about, we're not ever going to put our kids in a traumatic situation or something abusive or force them. But you know what? It's beautiful. There's nature. It's exercise. You're going to get something good out of this. So that's the tough love of like, no, we're going to actually get up to the top of this hill so you could see the benefits. So it's a lot of things like that he started turning around, where he could then be in his own self-leadership of, oh, wait, I could try something new. Or maybe I could do something a little daring that I wouldn't, that he wasn't doing before. And I think that's, at least for me, I see on the other end that, you know, is a big change. Like, when we can give kids the self-leadership to say, like, I'm going to make this choice. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to, you know, myself out there.
I think there's a big component for any single parents or parents who are co-parenting in blended families. Like, you have this feeling of you're going to lose your kid. Oh my gosh, they might not like me. And that's the negative effect that's going to happen on them. You have to change your mind to, like, I'm the parent. I'm always going to love them unconditionally. They're always going to be a part of my life. But like we spoke of earlier, I put my needs first, our relationship first, and start to actually show him what it really means to be in a loving relationship and do loving things. He'll thrive. So
he'll thrive because you're full to give, and he'll thrive because he's getting that modeling for multiple reasons. Amazing, you guys. So I know you have a conflict to connection and anger to intimacy 90-minute couples masterclass on March 4th, which is my birthday. That's my birthday. So we'll put that below as well. So if anyone wants to go to that, then they can. And I'm just really glad that you came. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you. Like I said, the first 10 minutes, I think we were like already gave everything, like, so much, but you know, anything after that was just like really important. And I just also want to thank you guys, like the namaste, but just like to say, like, thank you for doing the work in the world. Like, thank you for standing in this and being an example for this, and doing the how we're gonna build this, how we're gonna scale this mountain, and walking the new path, forging the new way, because that's the next level. That's where we're going. And I'm just so grateful. And namaste, I see you and I thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank-
so much.
thank you, and thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you for what you're doing. This is a wonderful event that you're putting
Yeah.
together. Yeah, this is what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.